Hey, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and light one up as we welcome you to an all new joint project from the two-man power trip in the Hamin Media Group. Hey, it's 10 topics, 10 conversations. This is the 10 count. And what we're gonna do here to get things going, we'll introduce age and wisdom before the beauty and the brawn over here. So over on the other side of the screen is my co-host, and he's an OG of pro wrestling podcasting. We're talking over a decade, 10 years, over 10 years in the game. And he has hosted shows with some absolute legends. We're talking the likes of, how about Dirty Dutch Mantel, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Kevin Sullivan, just the incredible J.J. Dillon, the franchise Shane Douglas. Hey, just some shows that he's hosted. He's had some personal, heart-to-heart interviews with the likes of the immortal Hulk Hogan, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever be, Bret Hart, arguably the GOAT Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and Bruno Sammartino. Hey, this dude is so next level that the Rolling Stones, not the Rolling Stones, Rolling Stone magazine rated the two-man power trip a top 10 pro wrestling podcast. Hey, unless you've been living under a rock, you already know who this man is. It is John Paz, baby.
Thank you, RBV. Man, thank you. That great intro there. Appreciate that. Richard Bronson, Vickrey, Mr. RBV. Not too shabby yourself, Mr. RBV. Nearing over 8 years, right? You're pretty much going to be 8 years of podcasting. You are a pro wrestling promoter. You've done play-by-play and ring announcing, voice of race days and race report show over at the Edgewater Racetrack, and just signed on, crazily enough, to be the official voice of the Knockout Kings Tough Man Boxing promotion. So RBV, nothing to cry about there. It's a pretty nice resume, RBV.
Absolutely. And it all started with the Hamin Media Group, said going on 8 years, getting that opportunity in podcasting to get my voice out there, grew into working local with indie promotions, crossed over into the world of drag racing, and now another ring, squared circle, if you will, with some throwdown action here local in the Cincinnati tri-state area with the Knockout Kings promotion. But Pops, man, it has been way too long since we had an opportunity to sit down. You and I started brainstorming about some ideas going forward, came up with this great idea, the 10 count. Again, 10 topics, 10 conversations, man. This series is going to be a blast.
I'm loving it. Great idea. Great concept. Obviously, borrowed a little bit from here, borrowed a little bit from there, but I love it. Great idea. And I'm looking forward to it. It has been way too long since me and you recorded. So looking forward to it.
A perfect time to jump back into a project together. No time like this time of year for professional wrestling. We are on the road to WrestleMania. But before we kick really all that action into full gear, the WWE Universe makes a pit stop at the Elimination Chamber. Interesting up, man. The Chamber's been around since 2002 when the match was introduced. It's been its own event since 2010. That's a lot of years, a lot of memories. Paz, let me get you going here. What is your favorite Elimination Chamber match or event moment?
I got to go to basically 2002, the first one at Survivor Series at Madison Square Garden, because I was there live for it. It was,
Wow.
yeah, it was quite the show. Oddly enough, my buddy, who used to be a huge wrestling fan, flew up for this. So it was almost like back then. It was very special to go to Madison Square Garden, go to pay-per-view, go to events. So Survivor Series 2002. I love the song that they used, the Always song by Saliva. That was great. But I love the original chamber match, of course, won by Shawn Michaels, who didn't even have his ring gear that day. It was lost. So he was wearing cowboy boots and basically a makeshift attire. But that's got to be my favorite. Just the first is usually the favorite, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. First are usually favorite. That was definitely my favorite chamber moment. What about you, RVP? What do you think?
Well, I was going to say, let me ask you here real quick. What was that like? You said you've already got the mystique, or of going to Madison Square Garden, but they're introducing this new concept. We've almost seen it all in professional wrestling. Now we've got this demonic structure. I mean, that had to add to the energy there.
Definitely. It's a sold out show. It was awesome. But everyone was kind of like, what the hell is this going to be? Is this going to be like war games? Like, you know what I mean? There's going to be four guys on the outside to start and two, well, really in the pods, and then two on the inside. You didn't know what to expect. They were really pumping up how the structure was like legit as far as there's going to be no safe landing anywhere, which obviously they changed throughout the years. But this show really, you saw some injuries happen along the way as well, some really bad injuries too because of it. And obviously they end up changing some things, making some things longer, something softer. So it has changed over the years. But at that point, you kind of didn't know what to expect, but you just were thinking in my head like it's going to be something like Fall Brawl War Games. It's going to be something like WCW NWA style, which it kind of imparted a little bit of cool concept, and obviously it's lasted 23 years. So obviously it's working.
Yeah, very, very, very cool insight there. When I was looking at this, I was trying to think of, remembering back to some of those big events I had benchmarked. I wrote down Eddie Guerrero winning a championship over Brock Lesnar at the event, but in my looking back on it, had to correct myself. That actually wasn't at an Elimination Chamber event. That's when
No
it
way
was
out.
still dubbed No Way Out.
Yep.
And a little side note on that: what's funny with the No Way Out, the Elimination Chamber, as we know it today, for the event in Germany, that doesn't fly. You can't say Elimination Chamber over there, so they still call it No Way Out. But for my favorite moment for the actual Elimination Chamber event or match, I got to agree with you 100% here, buddy. You go back to 2002, Shawn Michaels, the Born Again, the resurrection of Shawn Michaels going in here, winning a World Heavyweight Championship. But you look at this year's lineup for the men's, it is stacked. With a who's who of current day stars, but look who he bested back then: Triple H, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Chris Jericho, and Kane. He emerges as the champion.
Yeah,
they come out swinging. That is a loaded Elimination Chamber. Looking back at all those great moments, hopefully they're going to make some incredible moments going forward this weekend. The latest installment of the Chamber. But we've got some other stories developing there. A big one, Paz.
This is huge. Obviously, we'll be a part of the show as well. But The Rock wants Cody Rhodes' soul. I, for one, thought this was a nice little change because, and I know people online were mad, and I want to get your take on this too. But people online were mad; they didn't know what was going on. He points to him. He goes, "You want the championship?" He's like, "No, no, no. I want your soul." It was so kind of out of left field, so odd. It was so strange, but it was great because it just shows you The Rock is really a total Hollywood heel, if you will. Like it's a total fake, phony. I'm gonna bring you to Moana 2. Our moms are friends. Let's drink. It's like, okay, what does he really want? Almost sounds very much like the devil, Al Pacino in that movie with Keanu Reeves. Like, hey, gonna give you everything you want, and like kiss his ass. It's like, oh, but here's the only other thing is, I want your soul. I don't know. It's a nice curveball. I liked it.
Very nice comparison there. When I heard the soul, I know there's a hilarious memes with the Mortal Kombat stuff
Yes,
going around.
yes.
Collected the souls. I immediately went to one of my favorite movies, Tombstone. When Holiday, with the shootout there in Ringo, I want your soul. That's where I went. But hey, yeah, this promo here from The Rock, it's getting mixed reviews, but I think what it ultimately shows is the ego of The Rock, because he was all over the place. He was pandering to the crowd. He'd turn on the crowd. He would be. It seemed that he was very endearing and friendly to Cody, and then he would be strict and demanding at the same time. I think that just speaks inside of the character that The Rock, believes that he is such larger than life beyond the WWE universe. As he reminded us there, he's the top dog. He's on the board. Not only is he on the board, he doesn't own the thing, but he is going to answer all the questions. He is the final boss when it comes
Director
to
of the board. Yeah, he's the director of the board. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I thought, there was some brilliance in the madness behind the promo, but for Cody here, his direction, he has, as that white meat baby face, is he becoming a little stale? That's the big question there that the fans, are kind of debating about. I think a corporate Cody would be a nice move. And to me, just in the sense, he has done such a great job as the face of the company. He is a good baby face. He does seem genuine when interacting with fans, but there is such a large portion of the time where he's born to be a bad guy. He's got the hot wife. He's got the tour bus. He's always got the nice suits. He's finally back at that top of that card. It's a perfect storm for me.
To me, to be honest, and they could play off this if they wanted to. Like Dusty, not to be like mean or say, oh, anything out of turn, because they've all talked about it. It's out there. He was struggling towards the end of his life. Like, just as far as like, not before, not really WWE, but even before that, when he wasn't really working WWE, it was like he sold Cody's Rolex. You know what I mean? He was doing this because he's trying to pay for the kid's college, sold his car. Like, he wasn't doing as well. WCW went out of business. WWF didn't hire him. And then through the years, then FCW, then NXT, and then then he got a hold of himself financially. But think about it: if he sold his soul earlier to Vince and worked for Vince, was behind the scenes like a Patterson or a Briscoe, he would have never had to sell the Rolex. He would have never had to done those stuff. So if Cody's thinking long term and thinking like who's the best to benefit him, his what is it, half a billion followers, that'll help. The money, that'll help him, bringing him to all these Hollywood stuff where he can hobnob with all these Hollywood-esque people and these rich people and stuff like that. That would help for financially. It would secure his future if he sold his soul. So he's got to think about that. He's got to think about his dad for a second and what his dad would have thought and what his dad almost wishes that he would have done. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting debate with Cody.
I think also, Ed, even more so than what his dad would have thought, what does his current wife think? She is very materialistic. She is in the interviews openly said, "Hey, I want the nicest things that I can possibly have. There is nothing wrong with that." Hey, they've each have dipped their toe into reality television. She could be a very deciding factor in an interesting character to introduce, chirping into his ear about what The Rock is offering. And we're going to find out coming up here at the Elimination Chamber. Rock is wanting an answer from Cody. We're also going to find out coming up at the Elimination Chamber who Cody's opponent's going to be at WrestleMania. We were talking about a stacked lineup going to be
Yeah.
entering the chamber here. Positive, of course, the men's Elimination Chamber. Who you got winning this thing? Let me run down real quick here. Just remind everybody who we got in here. We've got on the farewell tour, arguably up there on that GOAT WWE Mount Rushmore, John Cena. You got CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Mr. Social Media, Logan Paul, hey, a former champion in his own right, but still trying to make a name for his, find his way, Damian Priest, and Seth freaking Rollins. What a lineup going into that chamber. Who do you like here? Who's the best viable option to face Cody, and some storyline options going forward?
Man, it is stacked, right? I mean, geez, everyone, the former champion, except for obviously Logan Paul, but he's a huge name in his own right. Super stacked. So many people are saying that it should be Cena and that he should get a title shot at WrestleMania. I'm not going that way because I don't think it's ready, or I don't think that they need to go that route yet with Cena because he's not retiring until December. So I feel like they have maybe SummerSlam, or they can pump that up for another show. Maybe he wins Money in the Bank, something along that. I feel like it's almost too soon. I would have CM Punk win it for sure. Then, if you want, keep Cody as babyface, have him tell The Rock no, and be the ultimate babyface. Be like, obviously Steve Austin telling Vince McMahon no, he's not going to be the corporate champion, which would be the ultimate babyface maneuver. He's not doing what could be best, but he's doing the right thing, and that would be to be the good guy, to be the babyface, and maybe not turn, but have CM Punk turn and align with The Rock and have the Punk be a heel. He keeps saying, I'm the devil, I'm Satan, I'm going to stab you in the front. That would be very kind of ideal of him because he wants the main event for Mania. Maybe Heyman helps him win in this match because he's catching in his favor, or Heyman connects him to The Rock, who's another, could be part of his favorite. Heyman knows The Rock very, very well for many years. So I don't know. I'd have Punk versus Cody, but I want Punk as a heel.
I think that is a very interesting point there, especially when you look at Punk's history, where you get to swerve. He has been the voice of the voiceless, anti-authority this entire time. It was The Rock that took his place one time. Heading into a WrestleMania to go against John Cena. We know all the heat in the history with Triple H, and now how Punk has come back and playing nice. What a swerve that would be to see Punk finally sell out to go get his golden goose.
Yes.
I am one of those. I'll get to back to Punk here in a minute, but I am one of those that do tend to go with the John Cena moment here. As I just think when you're looking at where Cody Rhodes is right now, he seems to be getting that torch passed to him as that white meat babyface that John Cena represented for so long in the company. So I think having Cena in the dynamic of Cody's dilemma to go corporate, which I don't think we're going to get a solid answer at the Chamber. This is a story that we need to play out through
Yeah.
WrestleMania. I think that John Cena is the perfect addition to complement what's going on inside the mind in the mind of Cody Rhodes. Obviously, Cody goes over in the turn, giving Cena more of it, maybe to endear him more to the people to use the rest of the year to try to get back to that point and finally win another championship, take the record from Flair there on his way out. For Punk, I'm not against it. I think that it comes down to it's either Cena or Punk are the options to win this thing. For what we're seeing right now, I would like to see Punk and Logan Paul. I just think that would be an amazing PR campaign for WWE and TKO going into WrestleMania. Now, let me
And
throw
they
this.
teased that. They teased that.
Yeah, a great tease there. I think it would be incredible. My media mind going right to that. Let me throw this at you, though. Was it 2018? We saw the only time ever that the Chamber featured 7 individuals. Where's Roman Reigns right now? Well, a lot of people are talking, what's his involvement going to be at WrestleMania? Could Heyman somehow get him inserted into this thing where we open up the match with a triple threat, then start filing in from the pods? That only time that happened, 2018, a 7-participant Elimination Chamber, the winner was Roman Reigns. Maybe maybe we get a rerun run it back again, a three-peat between Roman and Cody at WrestleMania, or maybe we get some kind of triple threat set up.
Very, very interesting. Now, the men's is super stacked, but let's talk about the women's chamber match. Who do you think could possibly win this? Obviously, you got Naomi, you got Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss. Who am I missing here?
From NXT, Roxanne Perez.
Oh, Roxanne Perez. Yes, yes.
Did you mention Bailey?
Oh, and Bailey. I'm sorry, and Bailey. Roxanne Perez and Bailey. How could I forget those two? My God.
You can't leave out. It's Bailey.
No. So who do you think? Who do you got winning the women's?
I gotta say, I got some heat online the other day because somebody was talking about how these two chambers could become the two of the best of all time, and I kind of laughed when you look at the star power in the men's compared to the women.
Yeah,
And I
it's
got a lot of heat online
different.
from
Yeah.
from some of them there, but this is an interesting lineup inside of the women's chamber, and I break this down, and you kind of got to look at where storylines are at right now. Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi kind of tied up in that tag team scene. Or are they looking at, trying to highlight that division going into WrestleMania? That would kind of narrow down the field. It can Bailey fit back in. I think if Bailey gets this opportunity, it's kind of a thank you for her years of commitment, where we saw the other horsewomen get those big shines at WrestleMania. Here's yours, Bailey. Alexa Bliss could skyrocket back to the top of that division. She's highly marketable, highly popular with the crowd, solid in the ring. I don't know if I guess I think that would be a good story there with Alexa Bliss. With Liv Morgan, though, I think it's too early to go back and revisit her with Ripley. I really think if you look at this thing, what looks great on paper, you're putting 2 amazing athletes out there again for that PR, and are going to go out there and have an incredible match for you. You pivot some things around, and you go with Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
I got to agree. That's what I would do. I actually would have Bianca be the one that attacked Jade, or her and Naomi, or something to do with her being kind of like the mastermind behind the Jade Cargill attack. Have her turn heel. Maybe Jade's not ready for Mania, or that's not her Mania opponent. I would have Bianca versus Rhea, but if you reveal her as the person that turned on Jade, then you have her cemented as the heel for sure. I mean, obviously Rhea's going to be the huge babyface, but you really, really cement her as the heel and have her go after Rhea Ripley. And if you look at it, Ripley was kind of like the next big thing, but Bianca was also the next big thing, but they never crossed paths. So it was one of those things where it's shockingly never crossed paths.
They have those ties in NXT. You can go back and visit there.
Yes, for sure. But on the main roster, I feel like kind of surprising that they haven't had this huge feud against each other. And what better place than Mania? I feel like the best woman is Rhea, but Bianca might be the best athlete overall. If you give her a heel character a little bit too, I don't know. I would turn her heel and have that be the feud. And even if they didn't turn her heel, I think that's money for the women's division, Rhea versus Bianca. I think those are the 2 best women on the roster outside of Charlotte, obviously.
Jimmy T over me over on the Smack Attack on the Hamin Media Group right here on our YouTube page. He brought up a great point last week. Is Charlotte regressing? We have all sorts of great conversation. You can catch us the weekends of Smack Attack. Me and Jimmy T. Possibly, we had just mentioned some tag team wrestling for the women's division. Let's talk about another great tag team in pro wrestling, and that is the furthered partnership that's been going on for a little bit, but it's been made official, and it is, man, they are off and running with it. Of course, I'm talking about NXT and TNA wrestling. That partnership this past Tuesday, man, they just had a hell of a show right here where I'm sitting at in Cincinnati, Ohio. They stacked that card. I mean, they had heavy hitters from both promotions, both brands on hand as they're getting ready. They're hyping up 2 weeks away from their big roadblock. We're seeing champions versus champions, titles on the line. They are going full force for this thing. Again, it's been going on for over a year now, but we saw the official announcement a few weeks ago indicating this partnership. Paz, what are your early thoughts on this and expectations for these two brands, NXT and TNA, working together?
At first, you're almost skeptical because it's like, wow, WWE's just going to eat them up. And like, I don't know what they're going to do with the TNA. I don't know how that's beneficial. But to be honest, it's been super beneficial for TNA. It's worked out brilliantly so far. Obviously, things could change. But right now, I love the way it's done. Joe Hendry got a nice little shine at the Royal Rumble. You have Jordan Grace, who obviously they ended up signing, but it just looks like, wow, they got her from TNA. Now she's in NXT. It just looks like like TNA's on equal footing. Like, wow, we got somebody great, and now they're going to be great here. So it looks like they're on equal footing with that. Then you bring in the Hardy Boys, and that is like a huge thing. They were huge stars in WWE, huge over. And they're like, wow, they're in TNA, and now they're on NXT. Then you bring in Moose, and Moose beats Lexis King, and then Moose is fighting for the Obafemi for the title at the Garden, if you will, but obviously the theater at Madison Square Garden, right next door. So it just seems like everything is going great right now for TNA. It's helping business, it's helping them, and it just looks like they're keeping them on equal footing, which I was kind of surprised because I figured they wouldn't. They would just make it look like, oh, we're better than them. But I like how they're making them very equal. Very smart booking, I think, because it makes both companies flourish.
Hey, I was looking at, I was blown away. Like, wow, they are really treating us great here in Cincinnati. They stacked that card, some great matches last week, and it's something dawned on me. AEW was here back in mid-January. I think it was the 14th or 15th, and they sold 1,400 tickets to the same venue. NXT
Yes.
TNA did over
Yes.
3,000. Actually,
Really?
yes. So
Wow.
they for
Doubled them. Doubled
yeah
them, yeah.
yeah doubled down, over doubled down on them. I actually went to check out. I didn't go to the event. I was in the area doing some promotional work. It's like, you know what? This looks like a great card. I'm down here. I'm gonna go check this out. Went to the walk up just to see if I get a ticket. Cheapest ticket they had available about 90 minutes to the show, $155.
No, for NXT? Holy
Yes.
crap.
In
Wow.
demand, baby. In
Wow.
in demand. But to the partnership, as you talked about the on-screen presentation, that's what a lot of fans were worried about, that TNA was going to be absolutely buried here. And a lot of the comparisons were made to when they partnered up with All Elite Wrestling, with AEW. They had Omega come in and just run through everybody,
Yeah.
and none of the TNA talents really came out looking better for it. To me on this, even going back to that AEW deal, not a failure for TNA because they had a huge cash grab from Tony Khan there. From my understanding, he bought in a lot of money, gave them a lot to get things going, to help them out. If I'm TNA here, I want to tap into those resources from TKO. I want to be partnering up right now and learning with and getting those tools for maybe better distribution for the product to reach more viewers. TNA product right now is absolutely incredible. It's amongst the best in professional wrestling. The character development, the storylines, the wrestling. It's a total package. Maybe get with their merchandising, how TNA can grow there, and
Yep.
and just their media presence. If they could just get a small sample of that from WWE and TKO, that's a blockbuster success for TNA here in this partnership.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Smart move, for sure. Now, kind of changing gears here because that's we're talking positive partnership here. Not sure if this is so positive with TKO and kind of what's going on with them. Obviously, the parent company of WWE, UFC, and PBR. They've got a lot going on, a lot of business, but you've been hearing a lot of rumors, and it's been online. The disgruntled TKO employees. There's a lot of rumors and speculation going on. What is going on here? Are they bummed out over at TKO? What is going on? What's your kind of take on that?
Hey, again, we're looking at the corporate side of the world because we
Yeah,
did hear some rumblings that inside the WWE locker room, especially that the women on the main roster were a little upset in comparison to the TV time, the character development, the storylines that you see in NXT. There's women about every segment you see something happening with women in NXT,
yeah.
but with TKO here, we heard a little bit of rumblings from the WWE locker room, but this is more the office types. And I think, we're what, a year and a half into this big merger where everything's officially underway. I'm sure there's still a lot of shuffling, a lot of hustle and bustle going on as they settle in, bringing all of these companies together. I think, there was some rumors of pay and bonuses and benefit packages. That's going to happen in a major merger. That's the real world. That's the way things work. And you look at one half of one just part of your entire group here, WWE. Yeah, they're at their busiest time of the year. This first quarter is usually where they make or break on the road to WrestleMania. This is a boom period for them. It's probably high pressure. Hey, that's just the way of life in business. As I dive a little deeper into this thing and see where this report's coming from, isn't this a Meltzer report? And he's been out there right now. I think he's just been kind of just trying to pick things out of the air to really put some heat and try to get fans talking negatively about WWE and TKO and try to just, the magician's trick. Look over here, not what I'm doing, to try to just divert attention from some of the shenanigans that continue to happen over at All Elite Wrestling.
Very interesting that when the report came out of the quarter four earnings, the profit wasn't really as high as you would think. But if you look deeper, remember UFC had that lawsuit where they had to pay the ex-fighters about $375 million. So I wonder if that kind of could cause some dissension amongst people there, because it's like, oh my God, we paid out so much money, we're losing money, and it's an aspect. I mean, really, they're making money, and their revenue was crazy, but as far as pure profit, and when that pure profit turns into giving away money for lawsuits and stuff, that could cause some disgruntlement, because you might think like, oh my God, are we going to lose our jobs? Are they going to cut here, cut there to make up for some of those losses? So I feel like that could be part of the reason why you might see some employees being disgruntled.
Well, when it comes to TKO, I'll tell you one thing that nobody's bumming out about. It is a big mega event weekend that they've got planned coming up. I saw the headline for this mega event, but I couldn't believe this thing. It's going to be happening this April. It's right. We're right around the corner from this thing. And hey, check this out. They're going to bring their three brands together. Pause. Of course, you got UFC, WWE, and PBR. No, not Pabst Blue Ribbon. Professional bull riding is going to be coming to the Kansas City area. And that date is, they're coming up here in April. Actually, I got that graphic here for you. We'll get that up. What I think is very, very cool about this is going to all be happening at the same venue over a couple of days span. Here you go. You got bull riding. That's going to be on a Thursday, April 24th. UFC that Saturday, the 26th. And then do you like it raw? Monday Night Raw on the 28th, all there at the T-Mobile Center, coming up again the 24th, 26th, 28th of April. Big mega event for TKO. Paz, are you hyped for this thing?
Kind of cool. Kind of a great idea if you think about it, because they can make maybe triple the money. If you got, hey, we're not just going to have Raw here. By the way, you're also going to have UFC, and for the PBR fans, we're going to have some professional bull riding as well. I think that's a win-win for TKO. Smart. I'm actually surprised they haven't done that earlier.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done it earlier, to be honest.
Well, as we just said, they're still in the works. Still figuring things out for bringing everything together. I think this had to always be in the plans. They've always had to been looking forward to this. I think so many of us have talked about, just a matter of not when, but how soon that we were going to get it. Could you see this becoming a bigger deal for some of the bigger events to make these things such an attraction? Get some bidding wars from these cities to bring them in, something like a WrestleMania weekend.
100%, because then it like a random end of April or whatever, random month or random week. By the way, we could bring 3 events to your city, which could kind of have some same fans, some crossovers, but you could also bring in three different segments of fans, which even more money to the economy, even more money for the arena, even more money for all the local businesses. I think that they're going to do more, and I think that that's just easy for any of you. Like if you're a town, you might want to just bid on it and have them pay them to come to town and basically bump up the economy.
Well, let me throw one more idea at you here. As we're talking about this traveling circus, this triple threat of events from TKO. Could this lead to a potential bigger, better home base in Vegas, where they set up where they're running UFC shows there regularly? They got WWE, get the bull riding. We could have a permanent home for a WWE Hall of Fame. We could have like our own TKO universe destination at one of the biggest, vacation travel spots in the world in Vegas.
Definitely. I think though, isn't the land or whatever isn't the real estate over there really expensive, or am I crazy? Because I feel like Florida would be better as far as I
Well,
know UFC's home is Vegas, but
they're already moving NXT to Vegas. That is in the works.
oh, whoa, okay,
So they
damn,
have they've internally they have made the decision to we're going to call Vegas home here. They're taking NXT the Performance Center and moving that to Vegas.
oh, I thought I heard that they weren't going to do it because it was so financially like real estate wise to have the place in Florida that Vegas might be too expensive. I was
Okay,
hearing.
well, it'd be interesting to keep your eyes on. Either way,
Yeah.
to have that
Yep.
big destination would be a surefire move there for TKO.
TKO obviously has a lot going on and a lot of ideas out there. Very interesting kind of idea that I saw going around, and I was almost like dumbfounded by it. But Vince McMahon may be pitching the idea to return to Fox and bring wrestling back to Fox. I don't know if you saw this or heard about this or what your feelings are of this. I was like just shocked because I was like, wait a second, what talent could he bring? Right? I mean, there's like nobody free agent wise for wrestling, and then like Fox wants to get back into wrestling after they just got rid of wrestling. Not really got rid, but just didn't bid enough money to really bring it back. So, USA ended up getting SmackDown, but it just felt crazy to me. It's like, is this legit? Because it's pretty good sources out there saying this.
Hey, old man Vince, he is not going to go away, is he? They might put him in the ground, and we're still going to hear rumblings about him still getting out there, trying to promote professional wrestling. Hey, that's what people with his profile type, that personality, those traits, they don't quit, man. They're going to keep coming back for more. The harder you kick that old horse, he's going to come back bucking, wanting to show, prove everybody wrong. Everything that he sold off the stock. Well, this guy's worth what?
Billions.
Answered billions of dollars. Obviously, that we've heard talks that he's been working with production companies, potentially could be hiring, been in contact with people that used to work for WWE. Obviously, it's a project he had out there where they were looking for production people that knew how to shoot professional wrestling.
Yeah. Yep.
I gotta believe he's having these talks himself internally. It's something he wants to show that he is still not out of the game, wants to write that final chapter, his own final chapter, instead of what we're getting from all these lawsuits, things like that. From Fox, yeah, they got sold a bad bill of goods. It was a total flop especially for what they paid. But could this work for one of their other networks for a much, lower price investment from their side? Maybe they would entertain a possibility of getting back in business with professional wrestling. Now, to me, if Vince is going to do something like this, I think he's just testing the waters, maybe teasing some things if he's throwing them out there to Fox. But who better set than to go into business with that old dirty bastard, Vince, a group of people that have been crapping on women since the beginning of time? That's the Saudis. They got all the money in the world. They are hungry for events. And Hamin turned me on to this a few weeks ago that he had heard some rumblings from some camps inside of UFC, inside of MMA, that Vince might be interested in getting into the boxing game and hoping to, revitalize and generate some interest around that sport.
And it's interesting to note too, TKO wants to get into boxing as well.
Yeah, I heard Emmanuel talking about that on the
yes.
Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though about Fox? and people were saying that because WB didn't go back there. They actually, and the guy from Fox, I forget his name, but he actually came back and was said actually WB was pretty successful for them and they did great. It just wasn't bringing the type of people for the advertising that they wanted, meaning they wanted the higher end, the higher ticket people, the Lexus people of the world, if you will, not the Honda people that WB might bring in. They wanted the higher ticket. So that's kind of why. But then they brought in college football, and college football, some of those games, they didn't even close to get the ratings that SmackDown was getting, which I was kind of shocked by that. So weird. Like SmackDown wasn't, I don't think, as big of a flop as people perceived it to be. I think it did pretty well.
Well, it wasn't flop because when you're looking at those networks, it's bottom dollar, it's dollars. And the ratings are in a lot of ways what dictate for the advertisers. But there is that stigma with professional wrestling, no matter what. I don't even think we're selling Hondas, brother. We're getting Tony's discount, it comes with 3 tires, hopefully, and you might get a couple miles out of the damn thing. That's what hurt them there. College football, football itself, it's over. Advertisers are going to buy into that. They believe that the audience is there no matter what the viewership is. And with that, with Fox, you are eventually going to get those big viewer games, those big ratings when you can put a Buckeyes, Michigan, because they got to deal with the Big Ten there. So yeah, when you're running Purdue versus Northwestern, that's not going to be. That's
some of those games, the ratings were horrible. I was like kind of surprised. I know, but obviously some of the teams didn't have winning records. But I don't know. I was just surprised. Like, wow, you would think college football is like a gimme with like 2 million people, but it wasn't.
It's all about perception and what those sponsors, those advertisers are willing to pay. And unfortunately, it's one of the biggest obstacles. I can speak from it even on an independent level. It is very difficult to go into businesses and sell professional wrestling, but thank God I am so damn good at it. It kept my promotions going that I could get some sponsorships.
Nice. Good job.
Absolutely. Well, pause. Hey, man, it is about ready to throw up that X-Men. A great debut episode. But hey, one of the things, that I love each and every day, I share a pop of the day. So I wanted to each and every week share a pop of the week, a pro wrestling pop of the week. Hey, in this one, man, I picked this one out just for you, Paz.
Yes,
intentionally in my open. 2 of those guys, 2 of your favorites that you've had near and dear conversations with, the Hitman Bret Hart and your all-time favorite. You love him so much that you created a whole podcast series around him, Hulk Hogan. Hey, this tweet comes from a year ago, but it's true then as it is today. Paz, I want to get your reaction. It's your pop on this thing. This is from the Hitman's X account. So there's a fake tweet going around saying that I'd slap the shit out of Hulk Hogan for calling my wife the N-word. Now, while this post definitely wasn't from me, the Hitman, I would slap the shit out of Hogan if he did it. That orange skin fraud knows better than to say some bullshit like that around me. By the way, here, the publicist told Bret not to post this, but Bret said, F it, and did it anyway. Hitman taking a shot there that continued that rivalry between those 2,
keeping it going.
Keeping it going. Pause. Everybody piling on your boy.
I know it's crazy. It just I don't the way it goes sometimes. When you're the king, everyone's trying to knock you off that perch. You know what I mean? They don't want you to get you too high. You know what I mean? They don't want you to be the god of wrestling. They want to knock you off that perch. They want to see you humbled and bring you down. It just makes me think that I wish that Bret and Hogan would have had that SummerSlam match back in '93. You know what I mean? Just damn it, we never really got a culmination of any sort of thing that could have been one generation to the next and have this huge feud. So damn it. But the great funny tweet from Bret, though. I got to give Bret props on that tweet. Damn it, I just wish Bret versus Hogan, we can go back and watch that match. You know what I mean? That would have been great. SummerSlam '93 main event.
One of the big misses in professional wrestling history. I mean, Bret Hart never shy about sharing his opinion on any subject or topic inside of professional wrestling. Hey, and we hope that's the same energy that we're going to be able to bring to you each and every week as we continue on with this great new series, the 10 Count. Hey, right now, though, hey, we will be in and out, 10 topics, 10 conversations, short, sweet, get you rolling, and we're going to send you off here. He's John Paz. I'm RBV, Pro Wrestling Fanatics. We'll see you right back here next week on another episode of the 10 Count.